Reasons why Rhea Ripley should win the Women's Royal Rumble in 2021. Hi, welcome to SCW. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now. Leave any comments in the comment section. Please like and share the video as well. Of course, I look forward to interacting with you in the comments as well on this particular topic. Why Rhea Ripley should win the Royal Rumble this year. I've got quite a few bullet points down here of why I think it would be a good decision for her to do so. And the first one is to make history, because an NXT superstar has never won the Royal Rumble. What a way to debut and then put yourself on either Raw or SmackDown, than to be an NXT star that comes into the Rumble, not only enters it, but also wins it. It certainly would be something that would be on her resume for the rest of her entire career. And what a way that she could debut in that style. So for me, I would really be in favour of this way of bringing Rhea to the main roster and making such an instant impact. Number two would be the Raymond James Stadium. Now, of course, everyone will remember last year, of course, Rhea Ripley did sort of make history in her own way with WrestleMania anyway. Of course, she was defending the NXT Women's Championship at WrestleMania. And of course, that was the first time that was ever done, something that Rhea also will currently be remembered for. And of course, if you remember the video packages leading up to WrestleMania, we had a video package of Rhea Ripley in the Raymond James Stadium. Of course, it was going to be the biggest moment of her career. And of course, it still was the biggest moment of her career last year at WrestleMania. But of course, she was in the Performance Center, somewhere she'd always been performing. That WrestleMania moment, although it was special because it was WrestleMania, it wasn't really WrestleMania. Of course, it was a match that she was performing in front of nobody. Of course, it's a big deal to be performing against Charlotte Flair, but this certainly took a lot away of what Rhea Ripley was supposed to have. And I think WWE should give Rhea Ripley that moment again, because now we're going to be at the Raymond James Stadium. It's 12 months later. It looks like we are going to have some portion of fans at WrestleMania coming this year. It's another two-night event. I think it's a great opportunity to build new stars, and Rhea Ripley for me should be one of them as we move into point three, which of course last year at WrestleMania, Rhea Ripley lost the NXT Women's Championship to Charlotte Flair, arguably something that Rhea should not have done at that particular time. It was not something that needed to be done. Charlotte Flair is already one of the biggest, most established stars in women's wrestling history. She did not need to win the NXT Women's Championship last year. Rhea Ripley, if she'd been a victor at that point, a star would have been made. And arguably, you look at Rhea Ripley, her history, first ever NXT Women's UK Women's Champion, of course, for the UK brand. She actually dethroned Shayna Baszler after such a dominant reign, of course, in that famous December 18th, 2019 episode of NXT. And of course, at that point, you really felt that the rocket had gone to Rhea Ripley and we were going to get the new biggest star in wrestling. I thought Rhea Ripley was on that moment where she was going to become arguably the biggest star in the whole division. I felt a Becky Lynch vibe going with Rhea Ripley going into that WrestleMania. And unfortunately, it was taken away. The fact that we didn't have the fans there, the fact it wasn't, as we said earlier, in the Raymond James Stadium, and the fact that she lost to Charlotte Flair and then went back to NXT, you know, and didn't turn up on TV for about 6 or 7 weeks, and just feels like since Rhea Ripley has lost that momentum that she had before going into that match at WrestleMania. So certainly for me, I think wrongs should be made right here, and by a Royal Rumble win, as we said earlier, it would be never done before with NXT. The fact she can go back to Raymond James Stadium, the fact that she could perhaps maybe win whichever championship she goes for at WrestleMania, feels like it would be a big special deal and would give Rhea that mojo back. And we mentioned Charlotte Flair. What if potentially it is Charlotte Flair that she defeats the championship for in a rematch that we were supposed to have last year at that stadium? Certainly would be a big deal, and certainly would be a good way of repairing that damage. But don't get it twisted, matches against the likes of Sasha Banks as well, Asuka, who's currently the Raw Women's Champion, I think those could be big money matches, something I would be very anticipated and looking forward to seeing. So for me, I would be very much in favour of doing so. Like I said, this is part of point four really, would be the perfect way to build her as one of the future big stars in WWE. She's young, she's like 24 years old, the future is bright, and if booked correctly, Rhea Ripley could be a rocket force of what takes the women's division into its next generation. Last but not least, at point five, I mean, Alexa Bliss and Bianca Belair are the two favourites currently for the Women's Royal Rumble this year, but I would argue that neither of them need to win the Royal Rumble this year. And we'll start off with Alexa Bliss, a former 5-time women's champion on Raw and SmackDown combined. She's been a women's tag team champion. She's refreshed her gimmick up as well. And you would say, arguably, of course, Alexa Bliss is a favourite going into this Royal Rumble match. But in the last 2 weeks on television, Alexa Bliss has defeated the Raw Women's Champion twice. What makes you believe that she needs to now go in a Royal Rumble match to then get a championship match 3 months down the line? She is ready to have that championship match now. That's my opinion. I don't think Alexa Bliss needs to go through 29 other people to get a championship opportunity. So for me, I feel although she's a favourite, I don't think it's necessary. We're not necessarily building a new star here. Alexa Bliss is already a top star in the women's division. Granted, it's been a long journey since she's perhaps been a women's champion, and it's great to see her back in that picture. I'm a big Alexa Bliss fan. But at this particular moment, although it would be good for the Alexa Bliss resume, I don't think she needs that Royal Rumble victory this year. But Bianca Belair, perhaps on the other hand, made her name last year in the Royal Rumble to the point that she was perhaps called to Raw at WrestleMania and the night after WrestleMania because of that performance. She got so over in that Royal Rumble, eliminated 8 people in that Royal Rumble, and of course was slightly lost in the shuffle, but now she's gone to SmackDown. It feels that the momentum is there. Bianca Belair, her time is coming. And you would say that yes, it would be very fitting for her to win the Royal Rumble. It would be that great, that great momentum that she would gain going into WrestleMania to take on Sasha Banks, as the #1 contender. But the thing is, the SmackDown roster is a little bit thinner than the Raw Women's Division. It's a little bit thinner than the NXT Women's Division. If Bianca Belair is to complete her rivalry with Bayley, and then obviously was to go on afterwards, perhaps defeat Carmella, there's no one really else in the way to get that match with Sasha Banks. I don't think the journey is so far for Bianca to need to go to get to WrestleMania to be that #1 contender. Let's not forget we've got the Elimination Chamber and we've also got Fastlane in between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. There's plenty of ample time to make that #1 contender. That star can continue to be, built week by week on SmackDown TV. So I don't see why Bianca Belair does need to win the Rumble. She doesn't need to win it. She's already, on course to get that championship match at WrestleMania, in my opinion. So for me, the two heavy favourites are not needing of winning, where I think with Rhea Ripley, I think a star is born overnight. We can repair the damage from last year. She can get her WrestleMania moment in the Raymond James Stadium like she was meant to. And like I say, we have got this new star, this person that's coming that will make history with an NXT superstar who's never won the Royal Rumble before. So that's my reasons why I think Rhea Ripley should win the Royal Rumble this Sunday. Let me know in the comments below whether you agree with me as well. If you disagree with me, I'd like to know your thoughts, your feelings in the comments below right now. I look forward to interacting with you. Of course, likes, thumb ups go a very long way to helping the channel grow as well as the comments do. So please do like, comment and share it with a friend as well. It really does help the channel. And of course, more content is aimed to be brought to you on a consistent basis. If you do subscribe to the channel, if you haven't already, then set your notifications to all. You'll be aware each and every time a video is released here on SCW. If you'd like to know my Royal Rumble predictions, of course there's a whole match card there for you, then that video is available for you now as well. Me fancy booking the men's Royal Rumble is available on the channel as well. Go and check them out before this Sunday if you haven't already. Thank you for watching. Hope you have yourselves a great day. You've been watching SCW here on YouTube.com. Take care, all the best. I will see you next time.